Our trustees and my partner in getting resources to run this thing, Bill White from the Foundation, and all of our shipmates, in particular our members who are joining us this morning, and guests, welcome to an exciting and unprecedented set of events for British Celebration Weekend. This has been a steady work in progress for us since Concorde Alpha Delta arrived in November, and we're delighted that we can finally share this unique exhibit with New York City and with the world. I will tell you that the passion and the respect for Concorde Alpha Delta displayed by the British Airways family has been quite contagious, and our crew at Intrepid is proud to have them as shipmates. Thank you, British Airways. Concorde Alpha Delta is one of only 7 British Airways aircraft on display worldwide, and one of only 4 that will be accessible to the public. Just getting it here was such a significant feat of technology that it generated its own documentary, which aired on the History Channel this past Wednesday evening and will air again and again and again over the next several years. That's the History Channel crowd. On the heels of the documentary, we're announcing today a multi-level, fully integrated partnership with History Channel. We'll hear more about that soon from Mike Mohammed, the Senior VP of Marketing from History Channel. The first element, however, of the History Channel partnership is the creation of the Atlantic Crossings Museum, which creates a comprehensive experience and offers an educational tool about transatlantic travel all the way from ocean liners to Concorde to the future. And this micro museum will be open today and available to you as soon as we conclude this program. Although I haven't reviewed Mr. Noyes' speech, I think it's going to be a fairly short program this morning. He got me the last time we did this. And if you'd indulge me for just a moment, there are some special shipmates we'd like to welcome and a fantastic Intrepid crew that I would like to acknowledge. First of all, the reason that this aircraft is sitting here today was born of an idea by James Kennedy, Marvin Scott, and John Lample, as the story goes, over a cup of coffee. And for James and Marvin and John, thanks a lot. They all had a lot more to do with it after the fact. But just so you know where the seed was planted, those guys came up with a fabulous idea that will mean a lot to the future of our museum. Also, Mr. David Noyes, Mike Bannister, Claude Freeman, and the whole BA team have been absolutely fabulous to work with. And between our Vice President for Operations, Captain Pat Casey, retired Navy officer, and myself, we've got about 62 years together in uniform in the military, and I didn't think that civilians were capable of that kind of mission accomplishment, but I was wrong in Midtown Manhattan. Mr. Marvin Scott.
Thank you, Tom. Welcome, everyone. What a magnificent sight, isn't it? British Airways Concorde Alpha Delta. Alpha Delta is a very special aircraft because this particular aircraft in the Concorde Fleet set the all-time speed record of flying just under 3 hours, to be precise, 2 hours, 59 minutes and, no, 2 hours, 52 minutes and 59 seconds. Gotta make sure I have that right. You know, as someone who is usually standing here reporting the story, I can't begin to tell you how honored I feel to be here, a part of the story. And having played a role in bringing Concorde to Intrepid. Actually, I feel I've come full circle from reporting on Concorde's inaugural flight back in 1976 to the story of its retirement last year, to the inception of an idea, to today's reality, witnessing true history in the making as the Concorde and its legacy are preserved for future generations. You know, famed attorney Clarence Darrow once observed, an idea is a greater monument than a cathedral. And ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to David Noyes.
Marvin, thank you very much, and Marvin and Tom, I promise you I will be very brief. Not for any reasons for you, I have to say, but because I've got my two children in the audience and they've been absolutely clear that I will be very brief. Robert, Lucy, start counting. Okay. It seems amazing that a little over a year ago, we in British Airways had to take what was the very difficult decision to retire Concorde, our flagship for almost 30 years. During that time, Concorde had become and has become a defining symbol of engineering excellence, speed, beauty, and style. And she holds a special place in the hearts of so many people around the world. So as a result, as we were taking those decisions about retiring her, we were determined to find prestigious museums to house her, where people from around the world could easily come to view the world's only commercial supersonic airliner. Now, we received proposals from over 75 museums around the world, but we were delighted to receive a proposal from the Intrepid Sea Airspace Museum for two reasons. Aircraft. Firstly, Alpha Delta. I'd like to introduce Captain Mike Bannister.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Tom. Ladies and gentlemen. Concorde is an aircraft of superlatives and dreams. The aircraft first flew over 35 years ago, and we in British Airways operated her with passion and pride, safely and successfully for over 27 years. And yet, if you look behind me, she still looks like the futuristic dreamings of a child, or something from a sci-fi movie set. Concorde's an aircraft that was a world traveler. From the beginning, where people wondered if she'd ever fly, through would she ever visit the States, to would she ever visit New York. In her time with British Airways, she visited over 250 destinations worldwide, 76 of those in the USA alone. And wherever she went, people came to see her. It was not at all unusual on some of those flights to see 50,000 people cramming around an airport just to get a one-day, once-in-a-lifetime glimpse of this beautiful aircraft. Concorde was a record breaker. We mentioned that Alpha Delta holds the record for the fastest ever crossing the Atlantic from New York to London. But Concorde continued breaking records right up until her retirement. In the very last week of commercial operations, she broke the record between London and the USA, flying between Heathrow and Boston in a mere 3 hours, 5 minutes and 34 seconds. And even as we took the aircraft to her final resting places, she was still breaking records as we made the fastest ever crossing from the east to the west coast of the USA, flying supersonic over Canada. Concorde is an aircraft of sensations. When you traveled on her, you were at the edge of space, where the sky got darker, where you could see the curvature of the Earth. You were traveling at 60,000 feet, Mach II, twice the speed of sound, 1,350 miles an hour, 22 miles every minute. You were in shirt sleeves, lounge suits. Anyone else up there is in a spacesuit. You were traveling in comfort, being pampered and looked after. You were literally buying back time, arriving before you left. And if you travelled at certain times of the year, in the autumn and the spring, you could take off from London in pitch darkness at 7 p.m. and cross the Atlantic so fast that the sun would rise in the west. Land in New York, and as you cross the bridges into Manhattan, see the second sunset of the day. Concorde's an aircraft of people. In the time that we in British Airways operated Concorde, we carried 2.6 million passengers safely. This particular aircraft carrying 500,000 passengers itself alone. Concorde's an aircraft of dreams. When I was just 7 years old, I decided I wanted to be a pilot. So I studied hard, went to pilot training school. And when I was doing my final exams in April 1969, I saw the first British Airways Concorde on the first ever flight and thought, that's what I want to do. I want to be a Concorde pilot. And it's those dreams that have come to fruition today, and the dreams that have led to this project being so successful. One thing I'd like to leave you with, it starts to rain, is the thought that without the people, we couldn't have this wonderful aircraft.
And principals, please move over for the ribbon cutting ceremony, and then we will continue with our program. We have a lunch and we go main stage. Right, everyone seek and shelter out of the rain, right under the gangway over there, and we're not going to party.
And now other program participants? Yep. We're getting a second shot too? Yes, we are. Right there. Okay. Okay, Jon, go up. Okay, Michelle. Jim. Marvin. I think that's it there. Back up a little bit, guys. Yeah.
Okay, Kristen, you do the one.
All right. Wait, what's the question?
One.
Okay.
Two. Three.
Okay.
There we go.
They're sharp.
Thank you.